Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel here, and we're back with Sonic. I know, crazy. After the whole fiasco with Final Fantasy 1 and Stranger of Paradise, we're going to be talking about Sonic again for a little bit. Quick update with the Stranger of Paradise review. It is still being worked on. I did mention this in streams before, but we are going to go through the DLC before the review can actually be, done and stuff. But today's focus is on Sonic Crossworlds open network test. With this open network test, the performance is a lot better, I will say. Way better than it was when, we had the closed beta back on PS5 only. This is actually now on, Switch, I believe, Xbox, PlayStation, and now PC. So I think that is very, very good. The performance was a lot better than I was expecting from the PS5 version. The PS5 version was alright. There was a little bit of hiccups from the closed beta and so forth, which I gave it a lot of slack because we didn't even know at the time when the release date for this game was going to even come out. Now, with the release date in mind, which is like a few weeks away, open network tests and so forth, performance is pretty solid. Frame rate on PC, it's locked to 60. I really don't mind for PC here for racing, only because this is crossplay, and I'm guessing they want to keep it very fair for everybody. So, that's totally fine to me. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. I don't know how it's gonna be on the Switch, because I don't know if the Switch version is gonna be 60 or 30. I don't know, and I personally do not care, but I know people are gonna still buy that version anyway. Hopefully it's 60. I hope it's not 30. I hope they aim at 60. But yeah, the performance was pretty solid. I didn't experience any hiccups or anything like that. No, there was no frame drops I didn't experience. The only time it probably frame dropped, I wasn't really paying attention for it. It was probably the lobby searching when lobby was found. That is very minor when it comes to like actual game itself when you're playing. There was really no frame drops whatsoever. If there was, I did not even notice it. So in the open network test, there are some things that were definitely changed from the closed beta. In the closed beta, most of the stuff I talked about in that video is pretty much the same here. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can go check it out on the top right card above, and you can go see that video and get a little bit of insight for what I'm talking about here now, because pretty much most things are the same. Some things are, quite different, but most things, like I said, is pretty much the same. We're going to be talking about more about the new stuff here than, as the beta as a whole. First off, let's talk about the Grand Prix, which is very short. It's literally 1 cup, 3 races, you're done. You'll spend probably like maybe 10 minutes at most for, doing this. Like I said, there's 3 races. These races go by really fast in this game. The only thing that is pretty cool about it is the whole rival system. I think that's pretty neat. I don't know if there's going to be a story mode for this game. I have no idea, but the rivals mode, it's neat. I didn't really care for it, if I'm honest. I think it has cool dialogue, but that's pretty much it. It has red rings, which I was told that if you get them all, you get more of the Grand Prix cups, but no, it did not do anything, because I got them all here and nothing unlocked. Yeah, and then the time trial thing, that was definitely something. I didn't spend too much time in the single player stuff. I'm here to play the multiplayer side for the beta. I'm not here to do single player stuff. I could wait for the the actual full game. Yeah, the time trial thing, I probably did it once and I never touched it again. I didn't care for it. It's time trials. It's what you expect in another racing game. The only thing is, with Grand Prix, it was required to even play online, so you have to do it. Unlike the closed beta, where you just jump in and hope and pray you do good. If it's your very first time playing this game ever, I think it's fine. But if you're like me and played the closed beta, it was kind of like, don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to. The game does start off with a tutorial if you ever want to do that if you're brand new to the game the first time. So I thought that was pretty neat as well. But like I said, most of the things I talked about in the closed beta here is pretty much the same thing. But there is some tweaks from the game being less chaotic, believe it or not. It was way more chaotic than it was in the closed beta. Here, it's toned down just a smidge, but it's still pretty overwhelming, I would say. I think it gets overstimulating at times, because one, the game is too loud. I can't really hear anything, and I was trying to mess with it on my live streams, and the audio was just, no matter how low I got the audio, it would just override everything else, from like my mic, my friends' mics. Like it was horrendous. And even on my side, when that was even turned down to like 10% on my stream deck, the game is just so fucking loud, and I think the mixing needs to be better, I would say. The mixing is pretty bad. It reminds me of the SA2 days, and honestly, I know mods have fixed, that, but going back to it officially is kind of odd, I won't lie. Because one, I still can't hear the music in this game, and that was a big issue even back then with the closed beta. Still can't hear it, and I even turned up the music this time because apparently we can now, which is interesting. We can mess with the settings. Graphic settings, there's nothing really here. You just put everything to max, and I bet you can run this on a 1080. I'm not even joking about that. Maybe you can't, I don't know. I got a 5080 at this point, so I'm all good here. But, that's besides the point. The music is just so fucking loud. Not even just the music, it's just the whole fucking game. The whole game is so fucking loud. I can't hear most things in this game, even with the music bumped all the way up. Which is same. I can't hear any of the music, and I know people have a problem with the music in this game, and it's just I can't even, hear it to even judge it, so the only way I can get the music into my ears is by YouTube, and it was just okay, hopefully I can stream it on, Spotify or even YouTube for that matter, to even hear it properly. So yeah, I don't even know what any of these songs sound like. I can only hear a little bit, like I said. Holaska, I think the beginning of that is so good, but that's all I'm hearing. I can't hear anything else, or even Sand Road. These are the new tracks, by the way. I will say though, some items have been toned down and some items haven't, like the slicers and the slime and the monster trucks. I think they're still pretty bad. One thing is definitely for sure that I think is more annoying now than ever is the weights. And the King Boom Boom is a lot more frequent than ever before. They were not this frequent even in the closed beta. I hardly ever saw them in, well, even not the weights, but the King Boo Boo is he is a lot more frequent in the open beta than he is in the closed beta, which is kind of insane. I see him a lot more than I ever did before, and it's just oh gosh. This is really what it feels like when you're trying to just get out of the way. The gadget system here is different, I would say. It's not too different. I would say menu-wise compared to the closed beta, I think it's a lot more messy. It's a lot more zoomed in than it should be, and I think it's a little bit harder to find what you're looking for, especially when you're in a lobby already with friends and we've already up and it's looking for a lobby to begin with, and then it still kicks you out, which that was a problem back then, and I think it's still a problem now, which I wish it really didn't do that. Because you could be in the middle of customizing your cards or gadgets and all of a sudden you're back in the main lobby. It's just I'm trying to do shit. I still think that's also an issue, but they added some kits this time, and I'm not 100% sure if they removed some gadgets from the closed beta. I don't recall. I will definitely say these kits, which take up 3 slots, by the way, it's neat. It's not my preferred way, if I'm honest, but, it's something to try out if you're curious enough. I will talk about the extreme gear that is now available this time around, unlike the closed beta. We were trying to figure out which designs are from what Riders game, and from what I picked up was, I thought this was Sonic's at first, but apparently it's Storm's zero gravity, gear, which was kind of odd at first, but then I'm starting to see the picture, you got Jet from the first Riders game with his extreme gear. Then you got, Storm's second gear, which is zero gravity. And then you got Wave's gear, which was from Freeriders. So I'm just oh, 1, 2, 3. So that's kind of a neat little Easter egg, I guess you could call it. They didn't have Riders outfits. They didn't have Sonic's extreme gear. It just looks weird to me when Sonic doesn't have his Riders gear. And he's not even using his Riders extreme gear. I didn't really vibe with that, so I just used Shadow, and Shadow didn't even have an extreme gear back in the original Riders, and he wasn't even a part of the story. But I do prefer the extreme gear over the carts. The thing is, it reminds me a lot of the bikes in Mario Kart, because you can do tighter turns when you're doing with the extreme gear. I think you can get drifting a lot faster now, which is what you want. Drifting in this game, I think, is very essential. Go from 4th place or 6th place from those positions to first in a matter of seconds if you're in that position to do so, especially with this extreme gear setup with your gadgets. And Jaden XV, he told me about this setup, and I've given it a shot, and I don't know if I can live without it anymore, because the drifting is just so fast now. If you're in a straight line, if there's only a straight line, there's no turns or anything like that, you can just go level 1 really quickly and then keep going back and forth, just getting boosts for free. It's kind of insane when you do that, and I do have to sacrifice my tricks now, but there is this, you know, one little gadget where you can get a little bit faster with your tricks. It's not as fast as the 2 slot. The gadgets here overall, I think it's just quite messy than it was in the closed beta. The closed beta was very clean, and yeah, I just think they could have kept that, because I do have a hard time with, you know, the new styling, and I don't know. I don't know what exactly they were doing. I think they made too many gadgets at one point during development, and they went with this route instead of the older route. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what happened there, but I think this new one is very, very messy, and I find it very hard to find things now, which is very unfortunate, because I thought the menu for the gadgets was just fine in the closed beta. But since we're already so close to the final product, I think they're just gonna stick it with this one. Which is a shame, because I did like the original styling of the menu. There's not really much to talk about with the customization overall here when it comes to your cart or, you know, extreme gear. I did notice from, you know, the closed beta that the stamps and decals, I think they're called decals in this game, yeah. The stuff from the closed beta is not in this open beta from what I've noticed, which is fine. I really don't mess with these, if I'm honest. I just pretty much change the colors and call it a day. I did kind of mess around with it when the Joker Festival, which I'll talk about, you know, later in the video. I did mess around with it a little bit, you know, at that point, but I really did not mess with the customization this time, because pretty much it was identical from, you know, the closed beta. So there was really no point of me even going back and doing the same thing, because I don't even know if the save data even carries over for, you know, the game or anything like that. So I didn't mess with it this time as much as I did in the closed beta, because everything was so new to me. So here it's pretty much identical from the closed beta. I will say though, I do love how first place is never guaranteed, and I have a love and hate relationship with that, because you could be first all race, like from lap 1 to 2 and even mostly 3, and then last second you get hit by something stupid or bumping into walls on your own, you know, accord, and you can be in first place from that, and then all of a sudden you're down to 12th, and sometimes it's a demoralizing feeling. Sometimes it happens to me. I mean, it sucks. It's kind of like you can't really afford to make mistakes at all in this game. Another new thing that I actually really love here is the fact that you can invite friends into your own personal lobbies, because this was not a thing in the closed beta, which was only on PS5, by the way. You couldn't invite friends or anything. You had to hope and pray when you counted down by pressing the X button, and you get into a match and you get to race with each other. This time, you just invite your friends, you give them your friend ID, or if you're already friends with them on Steam or PlayStation or whatever, you can just invite them that way, and you're good to go with the light party of 4. I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry. But yes, I do love the fact that you can invite people now, because it was really, really dumb last time with the closed beta, and I have noticed that I really didn't interact with a lot of Sonic tubers this time around. I think it's because more people are on, it's crossplay. It kind of makes sense, because last time it was just PS5 only, closed beta, you had to be invited. Yeah, it made sense that I really didn't run into anybody this time. It's all good. It's, nothing in the world. I still had my fun with the race and so forth. I got to play more with my friends this time. Hopefully we can have a bigger lobby slot, because I know it must have sucked when some people had to leave when there was more than 4 people. So luckily I didn't run into that issue, but I know it probably did happen over the weekend for some other folks. But hopefully there is a limit to how big you can make the lobby. I don't know, we'll find out. Or maybe you can make custom lobbies like we did back in, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, or even Transformed. That would probably be the better option if I'm honest, but who knows at this point. We'll see what happens. I think they're just going to keep it the way it is, if I'm honest here. But I do miss the older style for, inviting friends that way. But, it is what it is. And speaking of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, I do hope my 360 homies are still doing good to this day, because I haven't spoken to any of them since 2012. I hope they're doing good and everything. I do have some extras here, like you can For some reason, there are some of them locked. I'm guessing this is just for the full game. Yeah, you can have titles now, which is interesting. And you can do it by doing some stuff, and basically they're just rewards, and you can, get tickets and so forth to unlock more stuff for your vehicles. I think that's pretty neat. And I think that's pretty much it for all the new stuff, but there is one more thing I gotta talk about, and it's him. Yeah, I'm not surprised in the slightest that they added Joker from Persona 5, and now they're doing this festival thing. I think it's actually pretty neat. It gets people back into the game if they don't play for a while in the full game and stuff. I'm kind of surprised they're doing it in a beta though, so they're doing all these rewards and stuff. So I have to ask, I don't know if there's gonna be a data transfer once you get the full game and everything, because you do get rewards for doing the festival and stuff, which is all the Persona 5 stuff. And they do it like in this battle pass like system. Hopefully when they do more of these, it's going to be free. I don't know how this is going to work. So far it is free, but this event was only for like maybe a day or 2 days, and that was pretty much it. So it's just like, if you weren't playing in that full 24 hours, you missed out, and I don't know how people are going to feel about that. I don't even know how people are going to feel about when they get the full game and they see a bunch of Joker stuff and Persona 5 stuff, and you're like, how did you get that title? And just like, oh, you had to play the free beta to get it, and it's just like, oh. So hopefully these festivals are going to be, available after the fact, and they just, keep rotating when the game is fully out and stuff. That kind of reminds me of the whole Factor Daydream fiasco when they were doing all these events and stuff, and, fear of missing out was setting in with some stuff, and just like, oh, alright. So hopefully it doesn't go into that trend again, because that would definitely suck. The festival is pretty simple. You just play within a set of rules. Within every 30 minutes it changes. You can either tap boost or touch your teammates, pause, or do air tricks very fast. The last one you can do is by getting a bunch of rings, and when you do any of these in that set of rules, you can actually boost up the gauge on the top, and when you do that you get a whole freaking boost with a shield, and I think it is insane. And essentially, you're in a team of 4v4v4, and it's like very interesting. Essentially, they just made Team Sonic Racing but better, and I think that's hilarious. And by teams, you actually get like a team theme, which can either be Team Joker, Violet, or Morgana. And this actually does change your colors too, so you can actually see whose team you're on, like red, pink, blue. I think this game mode is very, very fun. I kind of wish that it didn't force you to play this mode during the festival, but it is what it is. It is an open beta, so. But yeah, the rewards are nice. All you gotta do is just keep playing, whether you're good or bad. Get decals, titles, horns. It's pretty neat, and the more you keep playing, you just keep getting tickets to unlock more stuff for your vehicles and so forth, so. There's really nothing bad I can say about this festival mode. I think it's pretty good. And once the festival ended, you get to see your rank of what you placed in the entire world. That is pretty cool, but it means nothing to me, sadly. And this entire time, connectivity was still pretty good from even the closed beta, which is very surprising. The only thing that is still present also is the errors. You can get timed out, or you can get disconnected, or whatever. You can still get that too, which I'm hoping this doesn't happen in the full game, but we'll see what happens when it does. And so that is pretty much it with the beta itself, and I gotta say, I still love this game. I don't hate it whatsoever. The only thing, again, I find like a negative out of this entire experience was pretty much how loud this game is, and I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if the game is just loud or to the point I can't even like lower it on my, streaming software, which is OBS, because I was looking at the streaming, from all that. The game is just so loud. Even when I'm not streaming, the game is just so loud. I don't understand where that went wrong, but hopefully it gets fixed by the time the game actually releases, and that doesn't happen again. Yeah, I think the game is very, very fun. I don't see it as a big issue, if I'm honest. The only thing is just, how loud the game is and the audio mixing, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I have the issues with. And then my minor nitpick with the gadget system changing with, its menu styling. I don't have a problem with this game whatsoever. I know people are probably going to be talking about the pricing, and honestly, the pricing It could be 60. I feel like it could also be $60. 70, I know it's asking already a lot. A lot is 60. $60 for this game is, you know, I know it's a lot. But 70, if it has to be 70, then, you know, so be it. But I feel like I'm gonna get a lot more out of this than I did with Mario Kart World. And not to bash Mario Kart World, I don't hate the game or anything. Mario Kart World was very, very fun. The only problem is, for me personally with Mario Kart World, is that no replayability whatsoever. And that was a shame for me, because I love the game. I love Mario Kart World. And that was an $80 game, and people were still buying Mario Kart World just for it. And I know it was like the only game at the time to fully justify the Switch 2. And I did get the digital version of that game because it came with my Switch 2. So I only really had to pay $50 for that. Would I pay $80 for Mario Kart World? I don't know, if I'm completely honest. But would I pay for $70 for Sonic Crossworlds? I would probably say yes, if I'm honest. I think the game has a lot more fun, I would say. I think I'll be sticking a lot longer for Sonic than I would with Mario Kart World. I just prefer Crossworlds as a whole compared to Mario Kart World. And I think for me also, I'm a rider's head, so it's just like, I prefer, you know, fast racing compared to the slowness of Mario Kart. I love Mario Kart still, but I definitely prefer like 200cc, for example. I love the thrill of that. Alrighty, I'm going to be ending off the video here, so thank you all so much for watching this video. This was another rambling video, as you can probably tell, because I'm not used to doing these. They're more relaxing on me, I should say, and it gets the raw thoughtness out of me compared to like an actual script, which, yeah, I do find these videos interesting and fun to do still, but I think that's going to be it for today. So again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you all when the game does fully come out, and I'll see you next time. Take care.